In this lecture, we are going to understand the process of gastrulation in case of mammals. In this figure, we can say the different cell lines which have originated after cleavage. And you can see after cleavage, there are two cell lines, inner cell mass and trophoblast. This trophoblast later on divides into two layers, cytotrophoblast, which is a mononucleated, and cellular layer, which is present just over the inner cell mass. And the another layer, which is the outermost layer, is the syncytiotrophoblast. So this layer is generated from the mitotic division from trophoblast, and later on these cells fuse to form the multinucleated structures. So this is syncytiotrophoblast, and it is the outermost layer of the embryo. Now from inner cell mass, two type of cell lines arises, that one is epiblast and another is hypoblast. So epiblast is toward the dorsal side of the future embryo, and hypoblast is going to make the ventral side of the embryo. So from this epiblast, there arises amniotic ectoderm after the splitting of the epiblast, and the other layer which is present at the amniotic cavity base, or you can say at the floor of the amniotic cavity, which is formed after the splitting of the epiblast. It is going to form the embryonic epiblast, and it is the layer which is going to form the proper embryo. So embryonic epiblast will form the embryonic ectoderm, from where the future neural crest will arise. And the second structure is primitive streak, and this is the structure which originate from the posterior side of the embryonic epiblast, and it will going to form the embryonic mesoderm, embryonic endoderm, and extra embryonic mesoderm. Some cells of the primitive streaks also form the extra embryonic mesoderm. And the another process which is going to form from the primitive streak is notochordal process. And when we talk about the hypoblast, this hypoblast later on generates the extraembryonic endoderm after division and further migration of the cells toward the blastocele, sorry. And later on, this embryonic endoderm will line the yolk sac. So this is all about the cell and tissues which are going to form from the blastocyst we have attained after the cleavage process. Now the implantation is already in the progress and in second week of the development, when blastocyst is partially embedded in the endometrium in the area over the embryoblast. Embryoblast is what? The inner cell mass. So the trophoblast differentiate into two layers, and these layers are cytotrophoblast, which is the inner layer and which is composed of the mononucleated cells, and second layer is the outer layer, that is we call uh, syncytiotrophoblast, and this layer is the multinucleated zone, and which is formed from the trophoblast after the mitotic divisions, and later on these cells migrate at the outer periphery of the trophoblast and fuse to form the syncytiotrophoblast. So in the images in the right hand side, you can see the location of the trophoblast. In the upper image, you can see the gray colored cells which are of the trophoblast, cytotrophoblast, and the purple color mass which is inside the endometrial lining. So that is syncytiotrophoblast. And later on in the lower image, you can see these syncytiotrophoblast is going to cover the entire cytotrophoblast when the implantation is in the proceeding, or you can say in process. So cells in the cytotrophoblast divide and migrate into syncytiotrophoblast, where they fuse and lose their individual cell membranes and convert into the multinucleated zone. So this multinucleated zone is in the endometrial lining, which is surrounding the this syncytiotrophoblast is surrounding the future embryo. Now, after the differentiation of trophoblast into the cytotrophoblast and syncytiotrophoblast, there will be the further differentiation of cells in the inner cell mass, or you can say embryoblast. So, cells of the inner cell mass differentiate into two type of cells, that are epiblast cells and the hypoblast cells. So, cells expressing transcription factor nanos will become the epiblast. The cells of the inner cell mass, which is having these cells are having the same genetic material, but still there is difference in the gene expression. So the cells which are expressing the transcription factor nanos will convert into the epiblast cells, and the cells which are expressing the geta 6 transcription factor will ultimately become the hypoblast cells. So the epiblast is present on the dorsal side of the embryo, and the hypoblast cells are present on the ventral side of the embryo when they will arrange in the particular membrane that we call epiblast layer and the hypoblast layer. Thus, a dorsoventral polarity is established because of the formation of epiblast on the dorsal side region and the hypoblast in the ventral side of the embryo. So, some cells of the hypoblast form AVE. AVE is what? Anterior visceral endoderm. So, some cells of the hypoblast form anterior visceral endoderm, uh, and they secrete leptin and serotonin that act on the epiblast. So these AVE are just the cells of hypoblast which are present on the anterior side of the epiblast, below the epiblast at the anterior side of the future developing embryo, you can say. So these cells secrete leptin and serotonin, and these proteins ultimately guide the epiblast to specify the that end of the epiblast, the cranial end of the embryo, or you can say anterior end of the embryo. So the AVE or anterior visceral endoderm cells of the hypoblast secrete some kind of this transcription factor, and these transcription factor ultimately acts on epiblast, and the epiblast is now going to make the anterior end, or you can say cranial end of the embryo. So how this is achieved, that some cells are expressing the uh, n- these transcription factor nanos, and some cells are expressing this geta 6. So according to time inside time outside hypothesis, cells entering the ICM, or you can say embryoblast, earliest express nanos. So the cells which are entering in the ICM early during the process of cleavage, which comes earlier, they express nanos. They express nanos transcription factors and produce fibroblast growth factor 4. And under the influence of fibroblast growth factor, these cells which are coming early in the inner cell mass are going to form the epiblast. And the late immigrants express geta 6. The cells which are entering the embryoblast later in the late stage of the cleavages, they express the geta 6 transcription factor, and ultimately these are going to form the hypoblast cells. And these geta 6 expressing cells produce molecules that increase their adhesive properties, mobility. They will increase, geta 6 will increase the mobility of the cells. If it will increase the mobility of the cells which are going to make the hypoblast, they come out of the inner cell mass. They will be able to move from there and will be able to arrange themselves in the form of a layer below the epiblast. So they increase their adhesive property, mobility, and make their way to the lower surface of ICM to form the hypoblast. Now this is geta 6 protein which is guiding these cells to move from ICM to make a separate layer, and then get adhered together in the form of a layer that we call hypoblast. So in this image you can see the outermost layer here, in the light green color, is the layer of trophoblast, and this mass of cells which is present at the embryonic pole is the inner cell mass. And you can see in the inner cell mass there are different kind of cells that are in blue color, that are going to form the epiblast layer, and the yellow cells which are going to form the hypoblast cells. Okay, so these blue cells are expressing the nanos transcription factor, and the hypoblast are going to make the geta 6 expression factor. So under the influence of these transcription factor, these cells arrange themselves into the state like you can see in the B part of the figure. Here the hypoblast cells have arranged themselves under the epiblast part, and the cells which are in the red color, these we call anterior visceral endoderm. So these anterior visceral endoderm cells are the part of the hypoblast, but they are present on the anterior side of the hypoblast under the epiblast, and these cell produce the leptin and serotonin transcription factor, and under the influence of which this blue colored epiblast is going to form the anterior region of the embryo. So here the anterior part of the embryo is decided. So it is understood that the primitive strip will start from the opposite part, and that opposite part is of posterior part of the embryo. So here the anterior and posterior axis are decided when the cells of the anterior visceral endoderms are secreting these particular factors that are guiding the epiblast to become the cranial part of the embryo. So now the trophoblast cells have differentiated into two layers, cytotrophoblast and syncytiotropoblast, and the inner cell mass is also differentiated into two layers, that are epiblast and hypoblast. So the cells of the ICM, or you can say embryoblast, differentiate into these two layers, the cuboidal cells, which are also the small cells, and these are present adjacent to the blastocyst cavity. So these are called as hypoblast cells, and they make the layer that we call hypoblast layer, and a layer of high columnar cells. These are column like cells, and they are adjacent to the amniotic cavity. They are beside the amniotic cavity. So this layer ultimately is called epiblast layer. So the formation of these two layers, epiblast layer above and hypoblast layer below, so the formation of these two layers structure, we the layers of layers and the structure, and these layers form a disc like structure. So this disc like structure, which is ultimately composed of the epiblast and hypoblast layer, is called as a bilaminar disc. So this stage of embryo is called as a bilaminar germ disc, because there are present two layers, epiblast and hypoblast. So this is two layer structure which is going to convert into the trilaminar germ disc. We call it the process of gastrulation. So in gastrulation, this bilaminar disc like structure is going to convert into the trilaminar germ disc, and that disc will be formed of ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. All the three germ layers are present in case of the trilaminar germ disc. So this is the structure. Uh, we call it bilaminar disc, in which both the layers, epiblast layer and hypoblast layers, are uh, already formed. At the same time, small cavity appears within epiblast, which enlarge to form the amniotic cavity. As we have talked in previous slides, that epiblast split to form a cavity. That cavity ultimately enlarges its size and form the amniotic cavity. The cells which are above the amniotic cavity and adjacent to the trophoblast, these cells are called as the amnioblast, and cells which are present at the floor of the amniotic cavity, that is ultimately the embryonic epiblast, which is going to form the proper embryo. And the cells at the abembryonic pole, abembryonic pole is what? It is the pole, or it is a part of the embryo, developing embryo, which is directly in front of the ICM, or you can say inner cell mass. The end which is opposite to the ICM is called as the abembryonic pole. And the flattened cells originating from hypoblast form a thin membrane that is called extra embryonic endoderm. Now the cells from the hypoblast uh, divides, and they just rearrange themselves at the you can say the blastocele region, or you can say abembryonic pole region, and form a continuous layer, and that layer is called as a extra embryonic endoderm. And this lines the inner cytotrophoblast, and together with hypoblast form lining of the primitive yolk sac, and this is visible in the next slide. So in this slide, you can see these columnar cells. In the very first figure, the blue colored cells, which are epiblast cells, the yellow colored cells, which are forming a layer beneath these epiblast, are hypoblast layer. And this hypoblast layer and the cells of the hypoblast layer proliferate and rearrange themselves at the abembryonic polar side region and form a continuous yellow colored layer, and this layer is called as a exocoelomic membrane, or you can say extra embryonic endoderm. In the second part of the figure, the it is shown that ultimately this between the cytotrophoblast and this ex embryonic membrane that was of yellow colored, between the cytotrophoblast, which is in light green color, and the yellow colored, which is extra embryonic membrane. So between these two layers there arises a third layer, which we call as extra embryonic mesoderm. So this layer, This pink layer I have marked, this pink layer is going to form the extra embryonic membrane, and this membrane is originated from the some cells from the extra embryonic endoderm, which is forming the boundary of the yolk sac, and other cells come from the primitive streak, which I have discussed in the cell lineage. So this is going to form the extra embryonic mesoderm, and this mesoderm later on spread toward the uh, at the boundary of the yolk sac as well as the future embryo, which is on the embryonic side. So the pink layer is covering all the structures inside, and this large cavity which is formed here, which is shown in the tick form in the red color, this is called exocoelomic cavity, or we can call it the primitive yolk sac or primary yolk sac. In the later part of the figure, in the right hand side, you can see the certain modification, the extra embryonic, this extra embryonic mesoderm in pink color is completely formed here, and the primitive yolk is going to reduce now. A new layer from the hypoblast have also expanded, and it has formed a secondary yolk sac. So this is the secondary yolk sac which is going to persist. The primary yolk sac ultimately degenerate and splits and slug off in the form of small pouch like structures. So this is the structure which is going to form before starting the gastrulation process. So the new population of cells appears between the inner surface of trophoblast and outer surface of exocoelomic cavity. We called it the primitive yolk sac. So new layer was generating here, and that layer we called as extra embryonic mesoderm. So this extra embryonic mesoderm was present uh, between the extraembryonic endoderm and cytotrophoblast. So soon large cavities develop in EM, and how this extraembryonic mesoderm is further converting into chorionic cavities. So soon large cavities develop in extraembryonic mesoderm, which form a new space that we call as extraembryonic cavity, or you can say chorionic cavity. And this space now surrounds the primitive yolk sac, which was present on the embryonic side, and amniotic cavity, which was present on the embryonic side, embryonic pole region, except where germ disc is attached to the trophoblast. So only one side is present at which this chorionic cavity is not present, and that side is connected to the trophoblast. That side of embryo is connected to the trophoblast in the form of a stalk. So extraembryonic mesoderm is later on going to form the somatic mesoderm and extraembryonic splanchnic mesoderm. So this somatic mesoderm is just lining the cytotrophoblast and amnion, and the lining which is covering the yolk sac, that is called as the extraembryonic splanchnic mesoderm. So the extraembryonic mesoderm is now divided into two type of mesoderm: extraembryonic somatic mesoderm, which is over the amnion. Okay, this is forming the lining of cytotrophoblast and amnion. It is surrounding the amniotic layer, and the extraembryonic splanchnic mesoderm, it is surrounding the yolk sac part. So hypoblast produces later on additional cells that migrate along the side of exocoelomic membrane, and they will form the definitive yolk. So these cells migrate to form a complete lining in which a small cavity is present, and that is going to form the secondary yolk, or you can say the definite yolk, that is going to persist further, and the primary yolk degenerate and will be erased here in the form of small pouch like structures will be that can be later on observed into the chorionic cavities. Now the implantation is already in the progress and in second week of the development, when blastocyst is partially embedded in the endometrium in the area over the embryoblast. Embryoblast is what? The inner cell mass. So the trophoblast differentiate into two layers, and these layers are cytotrophoblast, which is the inner layer and which is composed of the mononucleated cells, and second layer is the outer layer, that is we call uh, syncytial trophoblast, and this layer is the multinucleated zone, and which is formed from the trophoblast after the mitotic divisions, and later on these cells migrate at the outer periphery of the trophoblast and fuse to form the syncytial trophoblast. So in the images in the right hand side, you can see the location of the trophoblast. In the upper image you can see the gray colored cells which are of the trophoblast, cytotrophoblast, and the purple color mass which is inside the endometrial lining. So that is syncytiotrophoblast. And later on in the lower image you can see these syncytiotrophoblast is going to cover the entire cytotrophoblast when the implantation is in the proceeding, or you can say in process. So cells in the cytotrophoblast divide and migrate into syncytiotrophoblast, where they fuse and lose their individual cell membranes and convert into the multinucleated zone. So this multinucleated zone is in the endometrial lining, which is surrounding the this syncytiotrophoblast is surrounding the future embryo. So initially, this primitive streak is vaguely defined, but in the embryo of 15 to 16 days, it is clearly visible as a narrow groove with slightly bulging regions on the either side. दोनों side क्या होंगे? Bulging region होंगे due to the aggregation of cells. So you can say condensation of cells, and in between these two bulging regions, there will appear a narrow groove. So the cephalic end of the streak we call the primitive node consists of a slightly elevated area surrounding the small primitive pit. So in the anterior side of the embryo, this primitive groove will make ultimately a node like structure due to the bulging and accumulation of the cells over there, and they will form a elevated area that will form the node, and the depression in the middle of that area, and that we call as primitive pit. So in this diagram on the right hand side in image, this primitive node is visible, and around this primitive node is formed by the bulging of the cells all around, and in between, and or you can say in the center of this node is a pit like structure due to the depression of the cells. Primitive streak is visible here, and this is formed in the point in the form of a line like structure here. And this blue colored layer is of the epiblast, and these red colored cells are what? These are ultimately the detaching cells from the epiblast, which are going to form the embryonic endoderm as well as the embryonic mesoderm. So primitive streak becomes linear and elongates. It start from where? Posterior region, and it will elongate toward the anterior region of the embryo through a combination of proliferation. Proliferation means cells will divide and they will also migrate, and later on internal cellular rearrangements will be there, and this is called the convergent extension movements. Cells will be in the division state, they will proliferate, they will migrate through this primitive streak, and later on they will arrange themselves so that the ultimate embryonic germ layers can be formed. And these movement of the cell, migration of the cells, their proliferation, and their internal rearrangements, these all uh, events are called as a convergent extension movements, because cells are first converging themselves, forming the primitive streaks, later on they are dividing, detaching, and arranging themselves. So the cephalic end of the streak, the primitive node, consist of highly elevated area we have talked about, and surrounding the small pit. The elevated area is called as a node, and the middle depressed area is called as a pit. So cells of the epiblast migrate toward the primitive streak में move करेंगी वो, epiblast cells इस streak के साथ साथ move करेंगी, and then later on upon arrival in the region of streak they become flash shaped, they will change their shape, they will detach from the epiblast, and for the detachment from the epiblast there will be the removal of adhesion factors, we call it ecadrins, and slip beneath it, and this inward movement is called as the invagination. So cells from the epiblast will move from here and will make another layer we call embryonic endoderm, and this embryonic endoderm is formed by the displacement of the hypoblast layer which is present below the epiblast. So the cell migration and specifications are controlled by fibroblast growth factor 8. This is the growth factor which is controlling this cell migration and further specification into because ultimately these cells were epiblast cells, and later on they are forming the endoderm as well as the mesoderm. So this is the self specification, and this is controlled by the fibroblast growth factor 8, and which is synthesized by the streak cell. This factor is synthesized by these streak cells which are forming these primitive streaks, and this growth factor control the cell movement. This will control the movement of the cells by down regulating e-cadherin, because e-cadherin is going to make the adhesion between the epiblast cells. This makes the adhesion, and these cells are present in a continuous layer. When there will be down regulation of the e-cadherin, means the e-cadherin will be removed, and as a result the cells will be able to move. And a protein that normally bind epiblast cells, routine में क्या होता है, ये epiblast cells के surface पे present होता है, and this is responsible for binding of these cells in the form of a layer. But during the process of gastrulation these cells are moving, so for that it is necessary that there should be the down regulation of e-cadherin. E-cadherin नहीं होगा तो वो ultimately move कर पाएंगे. So this factor FGF will ultimately down regulate the formation of e-cadherin on the surface of epiblast cells, and the cells will be able to move through this primitive stack, and ultimately they are coming down. So some cells will displace this hypoblast and form the endoderm, and another layer which is going to form is embryonic mesoderm, which will be forming between the hypoblast, this yellow colored layer, which is now converting into the embryonic endoderm. So embryonic mesoderm will form between the embryonic endoderm and the blue colored epiblast, which is going to form the embryonic ectoderm. So in this figure A, you can see the uh, arrows which are ultimately showing the movement of the cells, migrating cells, and forming different type of areas. And in the front, they that we call it cranial area. There is the oropharyngeal membrane region. This is precaudal region, and this yellow colored arrow is indicating the movement of the epiblast cells, and this area will ultimately form the notochord region. Here is shown the primitive chord, primitive node region. Primitive streak is shown in the form of a line, and at the this is uh, caudal region from where this primitive streak is getting started. Different type of membranes are shown here, and uh, mesoderm is also divided into different segments: the paraxial mesoderm, and which is toward the anterior region, and the later line mesoderm, which is toward the caudal region. So different type of mesoderms are present here, and this is the fate map of the mammals. So this is the fate map which is showing the movement of the cells and ultimately forming the different kinds of area. So once the cells have invaginated, some displays the hypoblast. As we have discussed in the last slide, that some cells which are detaching from the epiblast, which ultimately displays the uh, down side present hypoblast cells, and they will create the embryonic endoderm. They will create the embryonic endoderm, and after that the further cells which are going to move beneath are ultimately going to form the mesoderm, embryonic mesoderm, and which will be present above the endoderm. So these cells remaining in the epiblast then form the ectoderm. The last cells which are present in the epiblast are called as the embryonic ectoderm. So in the B and C part of the figure, you can see the yellow colored structure. Yellow colored structure, this is embryonic endoderm. The red color structure, which is embryonic mesoderm, and the blue colored layer which is going to form the embryonic ectoderm. So all the three germ layers are formed here, which are shown in the C part of the diagram: embryonic endoderm, yellow, red mesoderm, and blue, that is embryonic ectoderm. So all the three layers are present here in this part of the developing embryo. We call it the gastrula. So the epiblast is the part of the embryo. Through the process of gastrulation, uh, the all the germ layers arises. So all the germ layers, the source of all the germ layers is ultimately the embryonic epiblast, which is going to form the gastrula. So in the process of gastrulation, all the three germ layers are already formed, and now these germ layers form the different tissues and organ of the embryo. So embryonic ectoderm will give rise to the epidermis, central and peripheral nervous system, part of the eyes and internal ears. Embryonic endoderm is going to form the various epithelial linings of the respiratory and digestive systems. They'll form certain glands and associated structures of the associated glands of the digestive system, like liver and pancreas. Embryonic mesoderm, which is going to form the skeleton system, muscle part, and the blood cells lining of the blood vessels, vessels, smooth muscular cords, uh, different serosal lining of the all the body cavities, and many more organs. So these are the outcomes of the gastrulation. There will be formation of the embryonic tissues called the germ layers. All the three germ layers are formed here. The germ layers include the endo, ecto, and mesoderm, and each germ layer will later on will differentiate into different kind of tissues. These tissues form the organ, and later on the organ system, which is ultimately going to form the complete embryo. So the formation of embryonic gut or archenton, there will be gastrulation, which is the beginning of the morphogenesis, that is the development of the body form, uh, and last the appearance of the major body axes like anterior and posterior axes are defined, as well as the dorsal and ventral part of the embryo is also defined. So this was all about the gastrulation. I hope you all understood it very well.